Hey there, how's it going? Today I want to share with you my recipe for a rich, delicious meat sauce that every home cook should have in their back pocket. Fantastic with pasta, perfect with lasagna, and great even just slathered over a baked potato. This sauce is guaranteed to wow just about anyone who comes over for dinner. In case you haven't guessed it, we're talking Spag Bol. I count Spag Bol firmly in the British cuisine camp. It may or may not be inspired by the classic spaghetti bolognese, or probably more correctly, pasta alla ragu bolognese, but over the years we've definitely made this our own. So just to reiterate, I don't claim this is traditional, I don't claim it's Italian, but it is very, very good. So let's get into making some. So we'll start as usual by setting ourselves up a mise en place, and for this recipe I'm using a battuto of 2 parts onion to 1 part each carrot and celery. I peeled an extra carrot here by mistake, but I'll snack on it while I'm cooking so nothing goes to waste. Traditionally we'd need to mince these vegetables very finely, but I'm feeling a bit rustic today, so we'll go with just a fairly fine chop. There's no need to be overly precious. You could use a food processor for this if you liked, but that does tend to release more moisture from the veggies compared to chopping by hand, and I just prefer the manual method. You do you. I find it easiest to chop the carrot by first cutting it roughly julienne into kind of matchsticks, and then bunching it together and cutting across to make small dice. Again, no need to be overly precious for this recipe, just cut across. They're looking pretty good. Let's get that together with the celery in a bowl, looking great. So now let's make a start on our onion, and again traditionally this would be minced very finely, but we're not doing tradition today. Just a fairly fine chop will do just fine. I'll use my usual method of keeping the root intact and cutting down the onion for thin strips and then cutting across for small dice. That's looking perfect. Into a bowl it goes. I'm feeling like a bit of smoked garlic today. Don't at me. I did say this was a totally non-traditional recipe, so I'll just smash the bulb, grab 2 or 3 cloves, top, tail and crush them for easy peeling, then roughly chop and sprinkle with a little bit of salt, mash with a fork to get nice and fine. I'm going to put this in a separate bowl because I don't want it to go in at the same time as the rest of the veg. There we go. Moving on to our meat. Today I'm using 50-50 minced beef and pork. This is 750 grams or about 1.5 pounds. You could do all beef or all pork, but I like the flavour profile I get from the mix. So the first thing we need to do is get this nice and brown to really begin to build our flavour story. So go ahead and add a good squeeze of high smoke point oil to a wide pan over a medium heat. I'm browning this in 2 batches to avoid crowding the pan and stewing the meat, so I'll go ahead and add in half of the meat and a good strong grip of salt, and then in with the spatula to begin to break down the bigger chunks. Now we'll just let this fry hard over the heat and occasionally give it a stir around to prevent anything from actively burning. After 5 or 6 minutes, this meat has a good strong colour and has released a decent amount of fat, so I'll remove it from the heat, drain out some of that fat and add in the second batch to brown. The play here is exactly the same until the last minute of cooking, when I'll bring in some Worcester sauce, or Worcestershire sauce if you prefer. Now don't be shy here, a good few glugs, give it a good stir to coat the meat, and we'll let that cook down and caramelise for the last minute of the cooking. You can really see the depth of colour developing here, and the flavour is going to be just immense. Finally, I'll add in about 40 grams, maybe a solid tablespoon of good quality tomato puree, and just let that sit in the pan for 20 seconds or so. I'll keep moving the meat around to prevent any burning, which is a real risk at this point thanks to the sugars from the Worcestershire sauce. Once the puree has had a bit of time to begin to cook, I'll stir it through the meat and give it a final few seconds before removing the whole thing from the heat and mixing together with our first batch of meat from earlier on. With the meat taken care of, it's time to turn our battuto into soffritto. So in the same pan we use for the meat, I'll melt 40 to 50 grams of butter over a medium-low heat and then add in our chopped onion, carrot and celery. I'll hit that with another strong pinch of salt. Don't be shy, we're seasoning a lot of food here, and give them a stir to coat everything evenly, and then let them hang out for 6 to 7 minutes, giving them a light stir occasionally just to prevent any colouring or burning. Once everything is softened and the onions are translucent, I'll toss in my smoked garlic, give everything a good stir to combine, and let that sweat down for 30 seconds to a minute until just fragrant. Perfect. Oh hey! You caught me editing the video. If you're enjoying it so far, maybe hit the like button. It will let me know that you like it and it will help it spread to more people. And if you want to see more videos like this, consider smashing that subscribe button. It's totally free, it really helps the channel, and it'll get you notified every time I release new content. Thanks. Now let's combine everything in a large pan. We could have done all of this in one pan from the start, but my silver pan looks better on camera. I'm guessing that's not a concern for you, so go ahead and use whichever pan makes sense. Give it a quick stir before going in with a good glass of white wine, maybe 250 to 275 mils. Anything will do. Most folks here use red, but I prefer the fruity freshness of white. Again though, you do you. Medium heat, quick stir, and in with a good sprinkle of smoked paprika. You won't particularly taste spice in the finished dish, but it gives us another layer in our awesome flavour story. 5 minutes or so later and the wine has cooked right down, so let's hit this with some good quality beef stock. I'm loving this brand at the moment, but use whatever you have. Maybe 200, 250 mils of that. And we'll follow that immediately with some good quality plum tomatoes. Don't skimp here, the quality is definitely worth the extra quid or so. All that remains for now is to give this a good stir around and bring it up to a simmer, and then we'll cover it tightly with a lid and leave it alone for an hour. 1 hour later, this is looking awesome. Off with the lid, let's quickly check the seasoning. This one's good, adjust yours if necessary, and we'll let this hang out with the lid off over a medium-low heat for about 5 to 10 minutes before going in with a good grip of dried herbs. I'm using an Italian mix here, plus a good handful of oregano just because I can. A good stir to combine, and we'll follow that with 150 to 200 mils of milk. I like full fat, but your mileage may vary. Another good stir, and then we'll just leave this alone, uncovered, for another 30 minutes to get saucy and reduced. 30 minutes later and this is reduced almost to perfection. It's got a great super saucy consistency. You see how it leaves a trail when I move the spatula through it? That's exactly what we want. There's just time to prep some pasta to serve with this. I'm using this fancy bronze cut frassini today, but rigatoni or even penne would work great too. I'll just add this into a pot of barely simmering water and wait for it to soften enough to fit in the pan. Do yourself a favour and be patient. There's no need to snap this up front to make it fit. Once that's in, we'll just turn the heat down and let it barely simmer for 10 to 12 minutes. 10 minutes later and we are done. The pro move here will be to finish the pasta in the sauce for the last 2 to 3 minutes of cooking, but I'll just twirl a generous serving of pasta onto a plate and top with a good helping of that amazing sauce. I really hope you guys give this recipe a try soon. I guarantee you won't be disappointed when you do. And thanks again for watching the video. Now before we get started, I'm in the British cuisine camp. More correctly, past it may be spaghetti alla root because I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed with myself.